use all the information we have today. Today starts prep week, or prep 6 days. The reason we do a prep week, why do you think? What's the reasoning not to just like go cold turkey right into it?
Get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready.
System, not shock the system. Yeah.
You cannot go from eating like super bad, eating from super bad to like your I don't think your body will react good to just eating like bad and then going from bad to super good.
Yeah, it kind of puts your body in, especially with things like caffeine or alcohol or heavy sugar, things that are very much part of a lot of our diets on a regular basis. You go from nothing or from all the things to none of the things in your body. That's oftentimes where we set ourselves up for failure too. So we use this week to just kind of slowly ease into this pattern so that we don't have such a hard shock on Monday.
Kind of like sprinting without warming up.
Exactly, never a good idea. Great way to pull a hamstring there, yes. All right, so I want to walk you through a little bit of the science. Okay, so I know our program is called the DTOX, and it is going to help your body detoxify. But the primary purpose of this program isn't necessarily just to pull toxins out of the body. It's also to get you in a really good, steady eating habit with good foods, learning how to really listen to your body, nourish your body with whole nutrition, while also helping to support some of these systems that help to detoxify your body. Our bodies are naturally good at detoxification already. So we don't have to detox all the time. It's doing it through all these different ways. Your lungs, your skin, your digestive tract, your kidneys, your lymph system, your liver, constantly every day working to detoxify, okay? So you're good at it. We're gonna help make you better at it over the next 2 weeks to give you a little boost. To just some toxin examples we're exposed to on a daily basis. These examples are things the body is naturally really good at detoxing. And the reason it is because we've been exposed to these for hundreds of years. So the body's just adapted, the systems have adapted. We're pretty good, for the most part, at getting rid of these things. So some alcohol, I say some because not all, right? But alcohol's been around since BC. So our bodies have gotten used to how to do that, right? We do produce waste from bacteria and yeast living in the gut, in our digestive tract. Byproducts of biochemical processes. So things like hormone production, getting rid of excess hormones as you cycle through. Our body does that pretty well. And then also as we eat and digest protein, we break down ammonia. Ammonia in itself is very toxic, so our body has to be able to pull ammonia out, detox it, which makes your pee smell like ammonia, right? So again, we're good at that. But over time, and really when we look at this time period, we're looking at the last 100 years, which the last 100 years is just a snippet of how long we've been around, humans, right? We have really ramped up our toxin exposure, and sometimes our body isn't as good at cleaning this stuff out as we would like it to be. Lots of chemicals, things we find in cosmetics, cleaning supplies, things in our water supply, air quality, different food products versus real food, right? Putting chemicals and preservatives in that, chemicals from production of new materials, things like that, right? So we're constantly exposed to that. Interestingly enough, we store a lot of these toxins in our body fat. And so as we lose fat and as we lose weight, we release them back into our bloodstream, and then our body says, what's going on? And has a hard time getting rid of them. Normally what I see when people are losing weight is your HDL cholesterol, which we've heard of as like good cholesterol, will skyrocket because you're losing fat, you're putting toxins into your system. That HDL cholesterol's job primarily is to pull toxins away from the cardiovascular system. So it goes up to support the removal of some of these things that are stored. Just a little fun fact. So what can they cause? A mixture of things, right? They can slow our metabolism down. A lot of them are known to cause thyroid issues, which is our metabolism as well. Hormone imbalances, sensitivity to chemicals, blood sugar imbalances, nausea or diarrhea when you eat high-fat foods, toxin storage and excess body fat, fatigue, and mood issues. So we get some of those side effects. It's really hard to pinpoint to any one thing, but in general, that buildup can expose you to some of these issues. So there's lots, as you mentioned earlier, there's lots of different ways to kind of reset the system. And it's good to, I like at least twice a year to get a good reset of the system, get yourself on track, okay? But there's so many things out there. What are some of the things you guys have heard of before, like programs out there, or maybe things you've tried? Anything? You mentioned a fast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I do when I do the fast.
Fasting. There's different programs that are promoted through, different companies, right? There's I think it's called the 21 Day Fix. There's the Whole 30. There's that. You can go on and on, right? They're all out there. So there's no real definition to what detox means, and that's why, in our heads we think, oh, we're just dumping a bunch of toxins out of our body. Our program isn't just for that. It's really for resetting your digestion and your eating habits as well, decreasing inflammation and just getting you to your best self. Now, once you end the detox, it's on you to keep yourself at your best self, right? But it's gonna take you to that point. All right, so what should a good detox include? First of all, a preparation phase is one really important aspect of this because you don't wanna just go in cold turkey. So you wanna be able to slowly get your body to that point where it can handle that detoxification process. We want a catalyst mindset, so things that are going to help our body propel in the right direction. Real food, hydration, added fiber, botanicals, support those systems that we talked about. And then we want a stage and realistic reintroduction to prevent retoxing, right? So it's not one of those programs that you're just praying to get to the end of it. So on day 15, you can go to your favorite burger joint and pig out, right? Our goal is phased reintroduction, because I really, through this process, want you guys to learn more about how your body talks to you. So you can be more familiar with what it's gonna respond well to, what it's probably not, and really integrate that into the rest of your life as well. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so some things that maybe aren't quite as effective. Let me see if the next part, there we go. Okay. So these are some programs you'll see out there. A liquid-only diet often leaves really important nutrients out of the system that your body has to actually have in order to detoxify. So we could get protein in, but we miss out on a lot of other things with a liquid-only diet. Fasting or juicing, there is some science that supports it, but not for a super long period of time. So we're going 14 days here. We would never do something like a 14-day fast or a 14-day juice. You start to become nutrient deficient at that point if you're not getting those other nutrients in. We limit to a narrow list of foods, which then makes you want all the foods you can't have, right? Might not address lifestyle or environmental support, requires expensive over-the-counter supplementation, begins and ends abruptly. And then MLMs. MLMs are multi-level marketing schemes, and I don't bash them. I know a lot of women in my life, men in my life that do that for a little extra side hustle income. Oftentimes those are just to make money, and aren't always based on science. So there's some out there that are better than others, but you always want to be cautious when you're going into something like that, just to make sure that you are following a really solid program. So what ours is gonna do, and what we're gonna work together on, is a wholesome real food focus. We are only gonna remove inflammatory foods, so things that we know cause gut inflammation, generalized inflammation. You guys are still gonna have a wide variety of food to eat, and I want you to eat it. I don't want you to feel super restricted. You're not gonna eat a lot of processed food, so if that's high on your list, we'll need to hit the grocery store at, because it is whole foods. But there's a lot of foods you can eat, and I would encourage you to focus on the list of what can and not what you can't. Because if you think of all the things that you can't have, that's all you're gonna think about for 14 days, right? Yeah. So think about all the things to nourish your body with. It is nutritionally complete. So this was designed by dietitians. We don't want you to miss fats, proteins, carbohydrates, iron, calcium, the list goes on. We want you to have it all because your body needs it all to effectively do what we're asking it to do here, especially if you're working out. We do try to address stress management and sleep, so you'll see some resources there. Provide education to reduce environmental toxin exposure. We have you can ignore that call, Pam. There you go. Sorry. We do have a preparation and restoration period, so before and after. And then the only supplementation we include is to support the 2 phases of liver detoxification, which I'll show you here in a second. So it doesn't require a bunch of pills or if you guys have supplements that you like to use, a basic multivitamin, an omega-3, probiotic, you're welcome to use that, but none of it's required. In fact, those of you who brought your kit with you, you do have a basic multivitamin in the protein powder. So you can get by without taking extra if you want to just eliminate things off your plate for the next 14 days, okay? Okay, so let's talk about detoxification. There's 2 phases. This is why it's 14 days long, because we have to get your body to go through both. So a lot of the toxins we talked about are fat soluble, like I mentioned earlier. They're stored in fat or they're bound to fat. We can't easily eliminate those because they're sticky and they're stubborn, just like fat is, okay? So first what we have to do is we have to change them to be eliminated from the body. To do that, we bind them with these things. That's a lot of what you'll find, not only in the powder in your kit, but also in a lot of the foods that we're promoting that you'll eat. So we're taking that first few days to bind so that we can get ready to eliminate, okay? You'll eliminate through a couple of different ways. Bowel movements, urine, and sweat combination. If you're missing one of those, you'll eliminate those toxins slower. So a lot of times if you have a lot of toxin exposure the first 3 days, you kind of feel like maybe you're coming down with something, which right now you might be. I don't know. But let's hope not. Yeah. I knock on wood, but we're going on a cruise on Thursday and my kids still haven't caught this flu that's going around, so fingers crossed. So you want to do all 3 and you want to do it as much as possible. If you start to feel crummy at all, sweat is the one you can probably control the most. Just go sweat it out. Sit in the sauna, get your body to push some stuff out of your skin. Urine, hydrate better, drink more water, pee it out, right? So those are all really good ways if you're starting to feel like, oh, okay, my body's really dumping or having trouble with getting rid of some stuff I've been exposed to. Help it out a little bit, okay? You'll feel better. This requires protein. So this is why sometimes like juicing doesn't always work well, because in order to actually get the stuff out of your body, you have to have protein or amino acids to bind with it to get it out. So you're gonna always have that through this process. It also requires sulfur-rich phytochemicals like you would find in garlic and broccoli. So if you like garlic and broccoli, have at it during these next 2 weeks, okay? And added fiber, which you will find in your box if you haven't already, okay? One note that I would say about the fiber is that if you have a very low fiber diet, this is not in the deck, so don't forget I said this. It's a good time to maybe log a day of food and check. If you're eating less than 10 grams of fiber a day right now, I would absolutely do half strength recommended in your shake, okay? So if you already have a low fiber diet, do not do the full strength scoop at the start, or you'll be calling me saying, what is happening with my gut? It's mostly just a really bloated, uncomfortable, like air in your gut feeling, because your body has to work through that fiber, and if it's not used to doing that, it's not gonna like it. So just reduce it by half and go from there. But do a spot check. So MyFitnessPal, or there's lots of other little apps. What do you eat in a day? If it's less than 10, let's start half strength, okay? Questions on this? Detox, we know why we're doing it, how we're doing it, okay. All right, we've covered a lot of this already and kind of, okay, so now let's talk about what we're gonna do, because y'all are in already, y'all have your kits, so. We are gonna prepare for 5 to 7 days. The things that will kick you down if you don't prepare, and you do a lot of them: caffeine, alcohol, sugar. I named those 3 at the beginning. if you know those are a big part of your diet of crumble cookies, you will not be at your best self for the first 3 days of the detox if you don't slowly take yourself off of some of that. So if you're doing 4 cups of coffee a day, or 6, we want to probably cut that at least by half before you start. Now it's not mandatory. I'm just recommending to be a pleasant person for the first 3 days. Slowly bring yourself down a little bit, okay? Focus on things you can absolutely do without making a lot of change. Drink more water, get in that dry sauna, start that sweat process, move around, okay? Exercise, and then batch cooking approved meals as well. So now's your time before you're going through all that. It's not a huge change. I mean, I don't want you to think you're gonna feel like, you know, bed bound or anything. It's your body's, it's doable, all right? But are you gonna wanna batch cook, you know, right in the middle of the thick of it all? Maybe not. It's a good time to do some of that meal prep as well, right? So we're gonna do that, and then come Monday morning, because we all start new things on Mondays, right?
Yes.
Okay, Monday morning, we are going to stick only to the approved and non-approved foods list. I'm gonna show you in a second where that is, okay, if you haven't seen it already. You're gonna do 1 shake a day, and then you're gonna also have 2 to 3 meals in addition to that, depending on how many calories you need and what you're feeling like that day. It might be a shake, a meal, and a snack. It might be a shake and 2 meals. You decide, hello. You decide what that looks like for you, but for sure, one of those has to be a shake. And then just remember that if you aren't eating a lot of fiber, start with half in the shake, because every shake recipe calls for a scoop of the fiber, and there is 9 grams. It's all whole foods fiber, but there's 9 grams in each scoop, and so it can build up real fast, okay? So we're gonna do that for 10 days. Then on 11 through 14, still following the approved and non-approved foods, but we're gonna do 2 shakes per day for 11, 12, 13, 14. The last 4 days, you'll have just enough powder to make those. So you can do 2 shakes plus 1 or 2 meals, depending on how you're feeling. You can use those as a meal replacement, typically is the best practice, okay? Then, and this is gonna be what I'll prep you for on our 3rd meeting, is our restore phase, which is just as important as this phase that we're going through right now, is we don't end it and then go right back to everything we were doing before, okay? So that is the routine. That's what we're gonna be following. So let's talk about what we can eat, because that's what we wanna think about, right? What can we do, not what can't we do. So fruits and veggies, the only fruits and veggies that are not allowed are corn and grapefruit, okay? Everything else is on the list, and again, you have your approved list. You can check it off if you want, but corn and grapefruit. If you can opt for organic produce during this time, it's ideal. If not, it's not a game changer, but it's ideal if you can. Proteins, try to get organic if possible. Grass-fed, chicken, turkey, pork, beef, bison, wild caught fish, and wild game meat. So we're thinking meats in their most natural state if possible, right? We don't want like the chicken that's on steroids during the, you've seen them, right? Chicken breasts, you're like, how did you come up with that size? Fats. Raw nuts and seeds are great fillers. If you're hungry, have a readily on hand supply of that. No peanuts, however, okay? And then olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, and ghee are your 4 different options for cooking or using as a condiment. Has anyone had ghee before?
Yes.
Yeah? It's really good. It's clarified butter. So basically they take all the milk proteins out of the butter, and it tastes, I think, just as good. It's pretty darn good.
Is it in the,
It's right there by the butter.
okay.
Yep. You can also make it if you're adventurous with a cheesecloth. Lauren's like, absolutely not. No. Sounds great. Yeah, super time consuming. Carbs. Please eat carbs. Okay? Carbs actually help with hormone production. They have a lot of fiber. They help pull things through your system. Beans, peas, lentils, rice, potatoes, oats, and quinoa. With the potatoes, I'd love for you to do the skin on the potatoes. A lot of our recipes call for sweet potatoes, so you'll see a lot of that in the batch cooking. and then flavor it up, okay? You're not gonna get a lot of sugar, but it doesn't mean you can sacrifice on flavor. Use these because they also are really rich in phytonutrients, right? And they're pretty potent. So also coconut aminos are a really great soy sauce alternative for some flavor. And then beverages. So here's my controversial piece, okay? What says it's allowed? Water, sparkling water, herbal tea, or your BCAAs. It can be any flavor. BCAAs are fine. If you are a heavy coffee drinker, you do not have to completely eliminate all coffee during the detox, okay? But you have to significantly reduce your coffee intake. So what I'd like to challenge you with is cut it at least by half, okay?
We're gonna die.
So I'll tell you a little anecdotal story. So I have a girl that I've worked with for quite a few years. She's a mom of 3, which is a feat in itself. I don't know how she does that, but she had gotten a Garmin watch. And Garmin tells you what your body battery status is, right? So it's like, is your body charged and ready to go, or is it drained, like daily? So she was drinking 4 cups of coffee a day. And every day she's like, this no watch, like it's broken, Jenny. Like every day it tells me my body battery is at like 12. I'm like, okay. It's like, well, maybe it is. Maybe it's at 12. So I was like, just for the heck of it, just try. Just reduce the coffee a little bit. And she did. She reduced it slowly. And guess what? Her body battery, boop, boop. And she was like stunned. And it's not that, it's because we get so dependent on it, we think we have to have it to function, that we actually don't allow our body to do it on its own without it. And so it can really wear down your system and your adrenal glands and fight or flight. Lauren has a client, but you guys will see her next Monday. Okay.
See you then.
So, again, coffee also has lots of antioxidants, and it's got really good health benefits. Well, I like it, but I'd like you to at least reduce your intake by half, and then work on what else you can do. Are there some herbal teas that you like? Do you like a good green tea? You know, is there sparkling water that you might want to try? See what else you can integrate in to fill in for that missing coffee. Will you have a headache? Probably. Will it last the whole 2 weeks? No, I promise. Okay.
Jenny,
Yes.
if we do coffee, like I'm gonna reduce it, right? But
Yeah.
slowly.
Yeah.
Black.
Yes.
Coffee black.
Yes. And you could add coconut oil if you wanted to do some bulletproof coffee, coconut oil or ghee in it. Yep.
Now, if you wanna reduce it, can you reduce like the scoops? Cause like she does like 6 scoops of.
Vanilla.
Yeah. I do like 3, so I'm not gonna have.
You
I
can
still have the same
absolutely
amount of
6
liquid.
cups.
reduce the potency.
Yes, right?
Yes.
I don't do 6 scoops.
Yes.
1 or 2 cups.
He's throwing at you.
But I still drink 6 cups of coffee.
That's a lot of
A
coffee.
lot of coffee.
So
Yeah.
now here's the other thing. Don't just replace it with decaf. So actually decaffeinating coffee uses chemical process that remains some in the decaf coffee. So we're trying to reduce chemical exposure. So I'd rather you switch to keep the real deal, reduce it, and then add like a green tea, an herbal tea, something if you want that warm, you know, do that instead, okay? Okay, any more questions on this? Hello, that's okay.
I'm sorry, Mommy.
Okay, so here's the naughty list, the list we're not gonna focus on too much, right? All right, that's okay. We're gonna focus on what we can eat. We're recording it too, so we'll get you all that you need. This is what is off the list, and we just talked about caffeine, so we covered that one, right? Okay, in the next 2 weeks, here's what we're not eating. Dairy, including butter. We could do ghee, but not dairy, okay? Gluten and wheat. Eggs, soy, including soy lecithin, which is in a lot of preserved processed products. Peanuts and peanut butter, corn, all right? And then here's our added list: caffeine, alcohol, processed food, so most things out of a box or a bag, right? There are some things that are not processed, like if you're getting a bag of almonds, it's in a box or a bag, but it's just almonds, right? Those things are okay. Artificial sweeteners, try to reduce exposure. If you have gut issues and they're unexplained, check your artificial sweetener exposure, because I often find that I can tie a lot of gut issues right back to that, and it doesn't really matter which one it is.
What would be a good substitute for a sweetener? So nothing at all?
Monk fruit.
Okay.
Monk fruit is, yeah, it's pretty, and it's actually, you could cook with it too. It's pretty heat stable.
Okay.
The shakes have stevia in them. I have only ever had one client ever in 12 years that has had any issue from stevia. So there are some that would be better than others. And when you're looking at stevia, if you're getting packets of it, like if you're gonna add it to a tea or something, a lot of times they're blended with also Splenda. So make sure you're getting, there's one called stevia in the raw, just stevia. Make sure you're getting just stevia, okay? And then grapefruit. Don't ask me why. It's got, there's, I don't know, yes?
Can we use the vegan that we have here at Lifetime?
You can.
Okay.
Yep, our vegan protein powder is generally the same base as what's in your kit. Just doesn't have all the extra stuff in it.
I meant the sugar.
The RX.
Oh,
RX.
the RX sugar. Technically no, but it probably wouldn't cause an issue.
Okay.
Just remember that sugar-free gum has artificial sweeteners.
Sugar-free, yes. If it says sugar-free,
Yeah.
it's got something in it.
Right, yeah.
And if it tastes good, it's got something in it. Okay, so that's our another list. So this is just an example day, what you could do. These are using the recipes that I'm gonna show you where to find here. I find a lot of my clients like to start the day with their shake, just get it in, knock it out, use it as a meal replacement for breakfast. Do you know that if you are following any kind of a macro or calorie counting planning diet, some of these recipes can knock you up there in calories. So if you're adding things like almond butter, a ton of fruit, like a lot of stuff to your shake, you're gonna bulk that shake up. Just note of caution. You know, I would keep it as basic as you can, as long as you still like the taste of it. This is a really good recipe. I would try this one for sure. The sweet potato turkey hash, awesome. And then a snack, the roasted garlic hummus. There's a recipe for that as well. Stuffed bell peppers are also really good. I'll show you some of my favorites here in a second. This is kind of a sample day of what you could do. Now, this is on one shake day. What day do we start 2 shakes a day? 11. Yeah.
11.
So 11, 12, 13, 14. Your last 4 days. All right, so here's what you'll find if you haven't opened your kit. Your plant-based rice and pea protein mix. It looks like this. I think, did we change the labeling? Yep, we did. It doesn't quite look like this anymore. Similar, okay? You'll have your multivitamin. So like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to also take your multi unless you just really want to. If you take a multi because your doctor's told you you need more iron, ours does not have iron in it, so please still take that regularly, okay? Antioxidants, it does have GI support in there, and then what we talked about for phase 1 and 2 liver support, all in those shakes. When we get to those last 4 days with 2 shakes a day, that's when we're kicking in the elimination process, right? So that first period is a lot of the binding, then we get to the elimination piece. And then your fiber, prebiotic plant fibers, promoting bowel regularity, digestive function, and healthy GI microflora balance, so that good bacteria, okay? Again, if you're not eating enough fiber, or if you're not eating a lot of fiber in your diet already, don't do the full dose, half dose it, okay? All right, so some things that you might experience. Don't let this scare you, okay, all right. Increase or decrease in energy. The people who have a decrease in energy are typically the ones that are pretty addicted to coffee. Flat out, okay? If you...
So all of us.
We are.
Like all of my people have the same problem.
So that's why we're doing the prep week, because you don't want to feel like you got hit by a bus on Monday, okay? We do typically see weight changes. Typically I see people drop the most weight the worse they eat prior to the detox. Just kind of goes hand in hand. If you know your diet has a lot to be desired, you'll probably drop a bit. If you eat pretty well, you'll probably still drop a bit, but not quite as drastically as those who eat a lot of processed or a lot of sugar, okay? We do see by day 4 or 5, much better sleep. If you don't, I'll be shocked, okay? Changes in digestive function. This is not a cleanse where you have to be located close to a bathroom. It's not the purpose. If that happens to you, something's going wrong, you need to email me and we'll talk about it, okay? It shouldn't and does not happen. Improved mental focus and mood after you come off your caffeine withdrawal. You'll get less fluid retention and puffiness. So if you guys do the in-body on a regular basis, you should be able to notice your water retention and inflammation numbers start to creep down over time. Improved complexion in our face, that's awesome. Body fat loss, now here's the other list. Headaches, Pam can attest. She's been a trooper, but she's good, she's got some, right? Nausea, gas, constipation, or diarrhea. That's usually only in the first couple of days if you're gonna have anything like that. Like I said, diarrhea is extremely uncommon. You should not experience that. If you do, email me. We'll talk off the record so we can get you in a good spot, right? And then this is where if your toxin exposure has been high and you're starting to really pull those toxins out of your system, you can experience irritability, muscle aches, pains, feeling like you have a fever. You don't really get a fever. Some acne. Now this is key. If you're gonna use the sauna and you're gonna sweat out those toxins, you have to wipe them off or shower them off. Don't leave them sitting on your skin or you'll experience more of the skin issues because it's gonna come out of somewhere. If it's coming out of your skin, get it off your skin, okay? Changes in menstrual cycle. This is only because we're adding more fiber. So if you're someone who has needs some assistance getting some extra estrogen out of your system, it sometimes can cause a little bit of shifts. If you feel spunky there, that's not abnormal and things regulate, but it's also super beneficial for you. And then, like I said, feeling like a cold or flu is coming on. So those are all common symptoms. They don't last forever. Day 5 is your key. You gotta get to day 5, you'll feel like a rock star, okay? Day 5, Anita. 6 cups of coffee.
I'm gonna bring it down.
It's gonna bring it down, okay. It's okay, I'll be gone for most of your first few days. So. Alright, lifestyle and exercise. So hydrate now, start hydrating now. The goal is about half your body weight in ounces of water daily. So take your weight, divide by 2, try to get that if you can. Use the dry sauna 2 to 5 times per week. Start reducing your chemical and toxin exposure. If you can, use glass bottles or stainless versus plastic. Practice consistent sleep routine if you can. Get movement up, right? This is not mandatory, but does help you feel better through detox if you're doing a little bit more recovery-based exercises than high intensity. So if you are feeling kind of crummy, go to yoga. Do you teach any of the low-key classes? No. Don't go to the Okay, so you'll go all together. Okay.
It's gonna be a mess.
All right.
We shouldn't try to go through this week.
Yeah. She's gonna be angry. She's gonna be
Okay, so now I'm going to show you just where to find everything. So you have your kit. It's going to take you to this page. You'll have a code inside and a website. All your downloadables are located here. You'll go to your program guide. And while this is shareable, we don't love you to do the detox without the kit because then you won't get the full benefit, but you can. If you want to just keep this and don't want to do the shakes again, but you want to use the nutrition as a reset, you can always repeat this and follow it. It's not a one and done use. You can save the code forever, okay? So here are all of our shortcuts. So I wanted to show you a couple here. It's like on 2 screens, so I'm trying to, okay, here is the grocery list. Okay, now these are also in PDFs, but this will give you your grocery list. Oops, where are we going? Your approved and non-approved food list. Where's that?
No, she said reduce it. You see it on it's not
Okay, and then down here, you're gonna see a ton of recipes. So what I would encourage you guys to do over this week is to look through some of these. I really like the one I told you guys about with the turkey and sweet potato hash. The chili is also really good. There's a ton of shake recipes that leave you thinking you're not really drinking a shake. There's some easy snacks. So this is the time to decide what you want to prep. If you want any of this stuff, you can always go back to just natural whole foods as well, as long as they're on the approved list. So everything you need is all in here. And here we go, PDF version, that's what I was trying to read. You can print it here if you'd like to. So it's all the recipes are also in the back here. Everything that we talked about today as you go through is in this list. Okay, so here's your approved and non-approved foods list. This is the one I like to use because this tells you everything you can eat. This is the one to take to the grocery store, plan out your snacks, your meals, right? Focus on what you can have. These is the suggestion if you're looking at like, hey, I don't want to spend all that money and buy everything organic. This will suggest what maybe to focus on, more organic versus conventional, if you want to make some good choices there. And then here is, give me a second, sorry, detox plate, lifestyle habits. There is a meal plan. Here we go. All right, how to use the meal plan. So there's a meal prep recommendation, and then here, so we're on page 35, if you want to take note of that, that starts the meal plan. If you want to follow it to a T and not have to think about anything, all of the recipes, it even tells you what page they're on. You can follow this to a T. If you're male, you're going to eat more quantity. You're female, you're going to eat less quantity on each of these things. So this is like the one where I would probably use where I don't have to think too much into it. Just follow it, okay? So use the grocery list, use the meal plan. This is all the recipes that were on that first page, but without the pictures. So if you want to go back and look at those, you can as well, all right? Okay, Pam, if you want to stop recording.